Why do we say we need to import foreigners, even import them illegally, when teenagers used to work at these resorts? College students should be, all this stuff.
And this is hilarious.
Florida has just found a great way to replace all the immigrants that they're deporting. Kids. Well, let's see what's in the bill that just passed the Florida Senate committee vote. See, Florida's facing a huge labor shortage now that all the farm workers are being deported. So this bill allows 14 and 15-year-olds to take their place. These children will now be allowed to work overnight shifts, as many as 30 hours a week, even on school days. Yes, they will miss school, but now that the Department of Education is gone, they weren't going to be doing any learning anyway. Now, of course, workers in Florida have no rights, and children are no exception. This bill lets employers skip lunch breaks for kids. But the worst part is the pay, because there's another bill they're working on now to allow kids to be paid below minimum wage. Because otherwise, what's the point, right? This country hates kids. I mean, so long as they don't hear the word gay, anything goes, huh?
Does anybody else find it really weird that we are kicking out immigrants all while making it legal for 7-year-olds to work? At the exact same time lawmakers are trying to push immigrants out, the people doing all the hard work around here, all the underpaid work all across the country, they're also lowering child labor laws and redefining dependents to just 7 years old. So let me get this straight. You want to get rid of the people building our homes, picking our food, and cleaning out our offices and replace them with fucking second graders? We're not building a better economy here. We're building child labor pipelines. Kids are not backup workforce, and immigrants are not disposable. If this doesn't scare you, you're probably not paying attention.
Or also allow children to do it as summer jobs. The idea that your government, that your precious government doesn't allow children to work summer jobs in blueberry fields is just mind-blowing to me.
Well, it's very difficult work, by the way, and it's fine. I'm totally down with everything that you're saying. But the point is,
I'm not a libertarian.
For Americans to want to do these jobs, if it costs more, I'm okay with subsidizing that labor.
America went from
be cool, stay in school,
to
just country boys and girls getting down on the farm.
Having saved children from the dangers of drag queens, Indiana Republicans have now introduced a bill that would allow kids as young as 14 to drop out of school so they can work on farms, corporate-owned farms. Because the only thing Republicans love more than traditional values are shareholder values. But it's not just farm work, and it's not just Indiana.
In the last 2 years, 14 states have introduced legislation to loosen child labor laws.
Republicans frame the debate around traditional part-time teen work like fast food jobs or movie theater jobs. But the reality is these bills will most likely impact kids from low-income and non-white families.
The Iowa bill signed into law allows kids 14 and up to work in previously disallowed areas such as industrial laundry services and meat freezers.
Yeah, they're not going to be scooping ice cream.
So unless you just woke up from a coma, you know that Trump has been making good on his promise to deport pretty much everyone. Not just people who are illegal, but even people who have green cards who maybe talked bad about him in a text message, because that stuff is happening. Many of us, prior to this, said, hey, this is going to cause problems, and now those problems are here. For example, Trump's immigration crackdown raises questions for agriculture industry's migrant workforce. Migrants make up a lot of the agriculture, like picking of produce and so forth. One place that has a ton of that is Florida. And while Governor Ron DeSantis is really big on immigration and getting all of these people deported, he also has to deal with the fact that now there are holes that need to be filled in our workforce. But don't you worry, he has a plan. What is that plan, you may ask? Who is this otherwise untapped workforce that's now going to fill the gap left by all of these migrant workers? Well, children, of course. Florida debates lifting some child labor laws to fill jobs vacated by undocumented immigrants. His answer is children. The state's legislature on Tuesday advanced a bill that would loosen child labor laws, allowing children as young as 14 years old to work overnight shifts. If the new laws pass, teenagers would be able to work overnight jobs on school days. They are currently prevented from working earlier than 6:30 a.m. and later than 11 p.m., per state law. I mean, the research shows that starting school earlier leads to kids who don't do as well in school. If you can start a little bit later, and if you can make sure that those children have eaten something, they learn much better. But we're going to throw into the mix, they should get out of school, go home, do their homework, maybe grab some dinner, then head to their overnight job. Work graveyard shift. Finish up at, I don't know, 6 a.m., run home, grab a quick shower, and then back to high school for all of that learning. Why do we say we need to import foreigners, even import them illegally, when you know teenagers used to work at these resorts? College students should be able to do this.
They're putting Alabamians back to work in my area. Experience I've had, they ain't too good at what they do.
Keith Smith says most immigration workers left after the law took effect, so this potato farmer hired Americans. Problem is, he says, most show up late, work slower, and are ready to head home after lunch. Some even quit after just one day out in the field.
There's a Hispanic man that works for us, and I say, he's 52, and he'll make anywhere from $70 to $100 a day. I said, if you can keep up with him and do a good job, you can make that. But they're not physically in shape to do it. And, probably not mentally tough enough to do it, some of them.
Over on this tomato farm, the story's not much different. Brent Smith may be the only exception.
The bending over, and if you're not used to working and kneeling down and bending over and constantly up and down all day long, is the grueling part of it. It really is. I mean, other than that, just not any harder than anything else.
With a 9.9 unemployment rate, Alabama is almost 1% higher than the national average. Tomato farmers say skilled workers can make anywhere from $200 to $300 a day, but unskilled workers make much less. And farmers say many Americans are not physically fit and simply don't work fast enough.
It's just going to take body conditioning, mental conditioning, in order to earn enough money to make it worth a day's work.
Illegal immigrants, the undocumented immigrants of this country, are not just doing the jobs you don't want to do. They're doing the jobs you physically don't have the skills to do. I have the proof, because in Florida, when all the mass deportations started and ICE agents were capturing all of these illegal immigrants and undocumented immigrants, putting them into cages at Alligator Alcatraz and places like that, the workforce dropped by 50%. Months later, that workforce has not actually gotten any better. In fact, it's gotten worse. If illegal immigrants were the ones stealing all of the jobs from American citizens, and American citizens would be doing those jobs if it wasn't for all the illegal immigrants that are criminals here in the United States illegally, then the workforce would be jumping back up and we would actually have projects moving forward in Florida. But we don't, because illegal immigrants, regardless of doing the jobs you don't want to do, illegal immigrants are actually doing the jobs that most Americans don't have the skill to do anymore. Because guess what? Illegal immigrants are doing labor and doing construction work in Florida, but it's still a skill. It still has qualities and it still has a bout of experience that you need by doing this work. And most Americans don't do this work. Illegal immigrants do, because they will literally come here and do the jobs you don't want to do. You want to be upset and claim that they stole your job, but illegal immigrants in this country are here just trying to provide a better way of life for their families. They are human beings. Taking and detaining illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants on stolen land, putting them into cages, making them sit in their own feces for days at a time at Alligator Alcatraz is inhumane. And for all of you that sees this, please comment and repost and share this with as many people as possible. If you think that you have any justifications for locking up people that are just here trying to do a better thing for their families, you're a problem.
I see people in here all the time. They're in a debate, about, hey, how do you raise kids? Hey, we want to buy our kids everything. We want to give them everything, because we want them to have more than we did when we were kids and all that stuff. Well, here's the thing, yeah, we want our kids to have more and have a better childhood than we had or whatever. But think about it for a minute. We had the good times back in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, early 90s. We had to earn what we bought, what we got. What mom and dad gave us, we didn't just get it. Unless it was clothes or food, we had to get out and earn it. Or we had to do something to make them proud and had to earn it. And I'm going to tell you guys something. We got to get back to that stage where we were like our parents. Everybody kind of drifts away from that, but we got to get back to old school. I mean, raising kids nowadays, we're raising too many softies. Too many damn Democrats are being raised up right now. They don't know how to work for shit. And you got to raise your kids, you know, diehard, true working Americans. And the only way to do that is, you know, just go back to the way it was back in the 80s when our parents couldn't buy stuff. They made us work for it or earn it in some way or fashion or form. Like my little boy came to me like 2.5, 3 weeks before Christmas. He said, Daddy, I want a four-wheeler for Christmas. I said, all right, son, we'll see what we can do. And I could have bought it for him. Yeah, I could have. He even threw this one on me. He said, Daddy, Mama bought me a dirt bike for Christmas. She's buying me a dirt bike. It's like, oh, that's good, buddy. That's good. I'm proud for you. I said, but let's get one thing straight here, bud. I ain't in no competition with your mama. I ain't doing that. Divorced, two parents, two Christmases. Hey, mama bought me this, and you can buy me that. No, we ain't doing that. I said, and this was right after I got his report card and I seen some bad grades and he had a little conflict at school. I said, buddy, you ain't getting no four-wheeler for Christmas. I can tell you right now. I don't care what your mama does. We old school over here. Buddy, you stepped out of the 90s and came back into the 80s over here. So we're doing this 80s style. 1973 coming up. You're doing it. You're going to earn it. You want a four-wheeler? I'll buy you one at the end of the school year. When you pass, your grades are good, and you do something spectacular like make all-stars in baseball or something other. And you got to go on all my trips that you are available to go on and bait hooks and work really hard. And then at the end of the year, at the beginning of the summer, I'll give you that. I'll go get you that four-wheeler. And there you have it. Ain't no Democrat right here. He earned that four-wheeler, so I got it for him today. Get your fish on. Happy Tuesday.
Paying people not to work. And when you stop paying people not to work, they have to go out and get jobs. And the first jobs they go out and get are these wonderful, rewarding jobs like picking blueberries. I grew up pulling tobacco. There are wonderful jobs in farming, in construction, all of this that has sort of been handed over to largely illegal aliens allowed into the country to do all this cheap labor. Maybe you pay a little bit more for blueberries to actually have Americans picking the blueberries, but that's wonderful. Also, allow children to do it as summer jobs. The idea that your government, that your precious government doesn't allow children to work summer jobs in blueberry fields is just mind-blowing to me.
Well, it's very difficult work, by the way, and it's fine. I'm totally down with everything that you're saying, but the point is,
I'm not a libertarian.
For Americans.
Today, at one of my stores, someone called off sick. Again. The excuse? Very flimsy. Here's the thing. Work ethic matters. Your word, your commitment matters. These kids, they say that they want money, yet they're unwilling to come in early. They're unwilling to cover shifts of others. They're unwilling to stay late. They're constantly asking to leave early, and they call off all of the time. As parents, we're failing our kids. We're not teaching them a work ethic. At Eagle Eye Farm, we talk about adulting all of the time with our college kids. That means showing up on time, managing work and school, staying until the job is done, helping others whenever you see that they are in need. Because in life, your word means something. You have to learn to keep commitments. Commitments mean something. We as a society need to do better at teaching our children, and children need to do better at actually listening and trying to be better people and becoming adults.
I've often said every kid in America should have to go work on a farm for a couple of months in a summer during their lifetime, because it'd teach them values, that the value of hard work, and that this life isn't just handed to you. You got to go make the most of it.
All right, y'all, blessed be the fruit. So today we're here to talk about Florida. So Florida has some job vacancies that have been left by migrants because either they're scared to come to work, or they've been deported, or they're sitting in a detention facility or whatever. But whatever the issue is, now they have a shortage of people to do these jobs, that they were stealing from white people. Those jobs, guess who's not doing them? The white people that they apparently stole the jobs from. So in the Florida Senate today, the Tourism and Commerce Committee passed a bill that will now go out to the full Senate. And in that bill, they were like, you know what? 14-year-olds. Let's loosen our child labor laws. 14-year-olds who are homeschooled or go to an online school can now work overnight shifts to kind of fill this gap. So I guess overnight shifts, the jobs that are stereotypically done by migrants. So these 14-year-old kids who cannot drive cars, okay, they don't have a driver's license, they can work 14-hour shifts even on school nights because they're homeschooled or go to an online school. Yeah, I can't imagine what issues could possibly come up by putting 14-year-olds to work with grown adult people in overnight shifts when the kids have no transportation and no way to leave. That does not at all sound dangerous. So some kids did go up, I guess, to testify against this. And they were like, yeah, no, thank you. Like, this is a really bad idea. Like, even the children get it. And one smart aleck congressman was like, this isn't like the jungle with Upton Sinclair. We're not putting them in meatpacking plants. But aren't you? Like, where are you putting them? Because stereotypical jobs, and where the hell is a kid going to work an overnight shift? I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a meat packing plant, but something like that. And y'all, you can bet your sweet patootie that the people who are making these laws and making it to where 14-year-olds can go work overnight shifts, whether it's a school night or not, you can bet that their kids won't be doing this. No, they'll continue with their privileged lives, going to their private schools and having somebody to wait on them and never wanting for anything in their life except for probably love and the ability to be who God made them to be. Aside from that, they'll want for nothing. They're not going to be the ones who are working overnight in a orchard or washing dishes or whatever. So kids as young as 14, overnight shifts. No, this is a bunch of horse shit, is exactly what it is. I mean, yay, they're kind of giving Texas a break, although I'm going to be back later on with some Texas news that's stupid too. But y'all, we're going backwards. Like, child labor laws were put into place for a reason. So now we're going backwards. And you know what this is going to create? Which is what they want. Starting from DC all the way down, especially down here in these southern states. They want a class of uneducated people who will work for low wages and who will be trapped. There's no way out. You don't have the education. You can't move up. 14 years old working overnight, doing whatever the hell. You're not going to do your schoolwork. And if it's homeschool, well, I think in Florida, they actually do have standards around their homeschool. But anyway, so I feel like this is all part of a bigger plan. Destroy education, put 14-year-olds to work, overnight shifts, low and uneducated working class who will work for low wages because they don't have any other options. This is the spinoff of America. All right. Praise be. Praise be. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Believe it or not, we have some good news out of Florida for this week. Although the Florida House passed a bill that would have allowed us to expand how much our children can work during the day, the Senate did not put it up for a vote. So now that the session is over, it has totally died in the Senate. And this is a huge deal because Ron DeSantis' office was a huge part of trying to get this bill passed. So he definitely would have signed it if it would have passed. And so we're we're celebrating. Now we know that kids who are homeschooled at 14 or 15 won't have expanded privileges to go work as many hours as they want. And we also have preserved 30-minute breaks for teens who are working in addition to going to school during the school year. We've also kept the limits on working to 30 hours per week for teens, which personally I think is still way too much and should be rolled back. But for now, we consider this a huge win.
One of my friends is able to run a program now on the farm. She's going to do art on Mondays, mixed media art and outside, and which is great. I mean, it's just amazing to have people do more. But she blew me away when she said she wanted to have a kids program, and especially geared towards kids in crisis. And she wanted to have a scholarship in Zale's memory. So I leaves me without words. I just can't believe how things keep coming together.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.